Everybody, it is Monday, February 28th, 2022. Yep. I'm going to call the Prescott regular city council meeting to order.
Good evening.
First item on agenda is roll call. Bailey?
Here.
Maureen?
Here.
Patrick?
Here.
I'm not sure where Dar is. Rob?
Here.
Thomas?
Here.
All right, let's all stand and say a pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is public comments. Anybody in the audience that has anything that's on the agenda they'd like to talk about, now would be the time to step forward, state your name. And I don't think Greg is going to do that, so we will move on to the next agenda item, which is a consent agenda, regular city council of February 14th and the Parks and Property of February 21st.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion made, second, approve the consent agenda and the two items I read. Is there any other discussion on the motion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. And then we're going to go to the committees. Finance Committee, I think there's nothing at this time. Public Works, next meeting, which I think Rob's in charge of, is Monday, April 25th, 2022 at 5 p.m.
He probably, there'll be new committees.
Oh, there might be. Nah, Rob's still in charge. I make him, no. All right, next item, Planning Commission, public hearing, resolution 0322, resolution approving the vacation of street, a portion of 2nd Street, Front Street, Assessor's Plat in the City of Prescott, Pierce County, Wisconsin.
Motion to open the public hearing for resolution 0322.
Second.
Motion made, second, open the public hearing for the resolution on the street vacation. Is there any discussion on the motion? Not all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. You want to present this, or just a quick overview?
Sure, yeah, I can do it. So Two Rivers came forward with the expansion of a two-story deck that they wanted to add. This was brought before council back in December, which was approved at that time. So as part of that, one of the conditions that was, as part of that approval, that they needed to get approval from council to vacate a certain portion of the right-of-way, which is before you today. The initial resolution was brought to you back in the beginning of January. So now that we've run it for 3 weeks, we're doing the final resolution is before you today for consideration of vacating it, which will then put that right-of-way to Two Rivers, so the deck will be fully within their property then as a result of that.
How wide's that public right away there? 2nd Street, you know? That's perfect.
And they'll also be maintaining the sidewalk that goes underneath on that side.
99
Yep.
feet, I think.
Doesn't it say on the map how wide it is? Isn't it?
It does say width
27?
varies. Did you see that, anybody? Because I noticed it, but
Where?
underneath 2nd Street, the word 2nd Street on the vacation map. So really, we're vacating a portion of street in order for them to build their deck bigger. That's part of what I just noticed tonight. Isn't that something? So there'll be a jog in 2nd Street there, correct?
Well,
Or will it be out
No.
over the sidewalk?
It's
It'll
just
be
where the
also-
land is.
I'm just looking at the map and it shows a jog. You go on the north side there and it jogs back and the right of way goes back to the next person over. I just happened to notice that.
You mean
It's
this-
a big deal, but I just noticed that.
You mean the dotted line?
Here at this
Yeah.
Oh, at this end?
Yeah, at the
Oh, I
north
see.
end.
Yeah.
Kind of towards the bridge side. It comes in and we gave them enough, but Bailey, and I think you said it, I assume they're putting a sidewalk along that section,
We
is
told
that
them
it?
that if we vacated this, that they were responsible for putting and maintaining that sidewalk and that we will no longer have that responsibility.
On the back side of their building, right?
Correct.
See, and that's probably why we did this. Because you do see
Because
there's a
that
jog and then the
sidewalk
right of way
is-
starts back up and normally we don't like that because it just messes people up down the line. Everybody
The
thinks they own a
sidewalk
little
is
more.
garbage, no one uses it.
Well, I know that. So, you know, if it's for the use of a sidewalk and they're maintaining it, I don't have a big issue. But I just want everyone to notice that since I just happen to notice there is a jog in the public right of way then, because we're vacating a portion of it for that purpose. Just FYI. Anybody else have questions, thoughts,
Is that,
concerns?
is that an my thoughts on it were that it was an aerial jog, which I guess is not possible because it was at deck height rather than at ground height.
No,
I
but
guess
it would be the ground, and the right of way does
Okay.
that.
'cause there's-
And again, I don't say this, it's a bad thing, I just, normally I would have said, let's do it more gradual so the right of way flows instead of Cause next thing you know, then someone else, well, that's the sidewalk they want, we must have went out to here, and that's, sometimes you get things, messed up. Other than we have our assessor's plat, which will show that, so it's not as big an issue. Plus, hopefully this will be recorded, people can say, it. Just FYI, cause Matt down the line, or council down the line might, or even if I come back out here someday, can throw everybody off a little, so. That's all I thought I
have
had.
a quick
Thomas.
question. Would it be possible for the owners of that property to, at some point in time, say, this is no longer a sidewalk, public right of way, we own it?
I mean, it doesn't really need a sidewalk there, just throwing that out there. I mean, it's really kind of ridiculous where it's at. Nobody uses it, and the offloading area that they have where it's supposed to be for like unloading trucks.
Oh,
It's
that-
not,
that
yeah.
lip there?
We went and walked it with them. It's janky. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It hasn't been maintained. It's falling apart. I mean, that's kind of where I'm like, whatever, don't have the sidewalk. There's no sidewalk going down that way anyways. That's kind of where I'm like, whatever.
And the travel from our park up to, eventually to Kinnickinnick is gonna be, or not Kinnickinnick, Freedom Park is gonna be on the other side of the street.
It's already there.
Right.
Yeah,
Well,
that sidewalk's not going away. The one that goes up the hill, like from where they're bar, that stays. But, yeah, I have no issue.
It's on the curve out there.
So just so I
ahead.
understand, that you're talking about the sidewalk that comes down from the street and goes directly to their building, right? Mm-hmm. Okay.
They won't own that, but behind their building, there's a sidewalk there, isn't there?
There is
Yes.
right now.
Yeah.
And it's kinda old, and it's got a little switchback to it.
And they don't
More likely,
even,
they're gonna improve that.
they don't even use it, actually. So they don't even use that little switchback to load food in and out.
Or just people going up and down probably don't use it either. So I just, yeah, it's fine. I don't know if it reduces parking, or there's no parking down that far down, is there, in our master plan?
There is parking that goes there, but it shouldn't be impacting it in Cedar Corp's and working with them. And we've already discussed the plan with them, and there's one spot where we have the electric pole. That's down further. That's not in front of their place that we're trying to adjust.
Right.
And it looks like we're only giving up 4.72 feet, but and if it does affect the parking, my guess, because it's still probably part of that bank,
It is, yeah.
then I don't have a big problem. I just happen to notice that, and it's unusual that we would put a jog on a street like that. That's the only thing I'd say. Or I think it would be unusual. Maybe that's my opinion. All right, any other discussion, any thoughts, questions? And Tom, yeah, they can put a sidewalk, they don't, I guess that's fine. We don't have a big issue with it, so. If no other discussion, I'll entertain, unless there's anybody else, and Greg or anybody else in the audience have a comment?
Make a motion to come out of closed session. Or out of close
Public hearing.
close the public hearing.
Yep.
Second.
Motion made second to close the public hearing for the street vacation resolution 0322. Any discussion on the motion?
Motion to approve resolution 0322.
I guess we're all in favor of coming out of closed session, aye.
Aye.
Out of public hearing, aye. Opposed? Okay, now Bailey.
Yeah. Oh, whoops. Yeah, I jumped ahead.
No problem. And I'll go ahead.
I'll make the motion to approve it.
Second.
Motion made second to approve resolution 0322.
I got too
Approving
excited.
resolution vacating portion of Second Street, Front Street on the assessor's plat. Is there any other discussion on that motion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next planning commission meeting is March 8th at 6 PM, in case anyone cares to know. Parks and Public Property, Mcgee Park Concept Plan. Who wants to present that one? I don't know if it's Bailey or Greg or Matt or Jane or.
I can start speaking to it. So, the Cooley River Trails group did a really nice outline of a proposed park layout for Mcgee Park. So in there, they've included kind of where the trail layout is. They have a really cool skills park area. We're talking about doing a natural playground similar to what you could see at Kinnickinnick. I have also asked them to put a fire pit in there. St. Paul has a public fire pit that I thought would be kind of neato. So they also provided some ordinance stuff around that. Placement of the public shelter in the bathroom, a layout of what the parking lot could look like. They really wanted to leave some green space that was in there versus having it all be parking. And then location for the welcome signage, and then a fix-it station, bike rack, and etc. So I think they did a really nice job on it. The Parks group reviewed it and did not see an issue with what the layout looked like.
Alright. Any council members have any thoughts or issues or opinions on the Mcgee Park Concept Plan that was in the packet? Matt, you have anything to add, or Jane?
I just really want to thank the group that's working on this, the Cooley River Trails group, and especially,
Israel?
no, well, I want to thank Israel, but,
They had a designer, like, do all this for them.
and I'm forgetting his name, no.
It makes me feel good, because I
Makes,
forget
makes
names.
it really great when you're trying to think someone you can't remember their name. So anyways, yes, well, I just want to thank, yeah, it looks really good,
Full
so.
crew. All right, any other thoughts or questions? If not, we could at least approve the concept plan as presented and approved by Parks and Public Properties Committee.
I make a
Motion to
motion that we
approve.
accept the plan as presented by the committee.
Second?
Motion made and second to approve the Mcgee Park concept plan as approved by Parks Committee. Any other discussion on the motion? Not all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next item on agenda is the WisDOT Transportation Alternative Program Cedar Corp proposal. I think that Greg gets to get up to bat now. Gotta say hi to his mom, who he is, who he works for. Well, yeah, you're not Seth, so that'll be easier.
So this is part of the federal bipartisan infrastructure law monies that came out mid-January. And one of the departments of the transportation funding agencies that it is through the Transportation Alternatives Program, which is set up for this type of project. It's for a trail type of project. And we've gone after a couple of grants, haven't had success. We talked with the Parks Committee and Matt and staff, just showing this would fit this project. Is it worth going after it? And the funding is 80% grant, 20% local, so it's good funding. This application is pretty streamlined. We're estimating $2,000. That would be a fixed cost. And that's basically a summary of that. It's some really good funding that's been funded through the DOT for the trails programs, which are otherwise very, very, very competitive in their normal budgeting years. Anybody had any other questions on that?
Just gotta keep trying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With the $2,000 cost to try to get the grant? Pretty cheap, we can get the 80%. Matt?
I just want to add a lot of the work that you just approved with like Mcgee Park and the work we're trying to do with downtown Freedom Park Trail and now also Elm Street, Lovely Street. I think the further, Greg mentioned it too in our Public Works Committee, the further we get into planning and showing how there's all a plan of trying to draw everything into the city and make it, fully more pedestrian and friendly in terms and also offer more amenities to our citizens really helps as well when we.
And visitors,
grants.
yeah.
And visitors.
Yeah, no, that's a good point that I kind of did skip past that. It's very interesting to see how the riverfront, the Freedom Park Trail, the Mcgee Park Trailhead and that group, how these things are meshing together, which do create a bigger common functionality for the whole community. So
And lets the grant people
And-
know that we're
correct,
looking
yeah.
at a bigger picture than just we need a sidewalk.
correct, yeah, we've talked about that, and I think that's going to probably help in
Super.
the scoring potentially for the
Yeah.
program.
All right. Any other thoughts, any questions for Greg?
I'll make a motion to approve the $2,000 amount for Cedar Core to start working on the TAP grant.
Second?
Motion made and second, approve the Cedar Corp working on the TAP grant not to exceed $2,000. Is there any other discussion on the motion?
Where's the money coming from?
The money will come out, we budgeted $50,000 towards parks for this year, so for this grant, at least, that would come out of those funds that we have budgeted from there.
Okay, good.
Good question. Any other questions, thought? Not all in favor of letting Cedar Corp get it up for $2,000, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Greg. Next Parks and Public Property meeting is Monday, March 21st at 5 p.m. Licensing, I don't think we have anything there. Ordinance Committee, got the second reading, possible waiver of third reading of ordinance 0222, Basically, it's a sewer construction and connection fee schedule, I believe.
Make a motion to approve the second reading and waive the third reading of ordinance 0222, ordinance to repeal city ordinance 470-3, sewer construction and connections.
Second.
Okay, motion made, second, approve, second reading, waive third reading of 0222, ordinance 470-3. Is there any other discussion on the motion? Nobody's heard any issues from anybody, and it's already been published once, or this is the second time around, so. If not, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next one's ordinance, second reading of and possible waiver of third reading ordinance 0522, an ordinance to repeal and replace 635-108, developer's deposit in our fee schedule, if I'm not mistaken.
Excuse me.
Motion to approve ordinance 05-22 and waive the third reading ordinance to repeal city ordinance sections on fees.
Second.
Okay, motion made, second, approve the second reading, waive third reading of ordinance 0522, which affects city ordinance 635-108, developer deposit and fee, and city fees. Any other discussion on the motion? I've heard nothing, and I assume nobody else has, so. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Ordinance committee next meeting is Monday, March 28th. Well, that would have been tonight, huh?
March.
March.
March 28th, 2022 at 5 p.m. if anyone wants to show up at that fun meeting. Health and safety. Jane, what are you laughing at? I got a commentary a little bit. Health and safety, we got, the next proposed meeting is Monday, March 14th, 2022 at 5 p.m.
I've forgotten who's on health and safety.
I did too. I used to have a list here.
Yeah, I did too, but I don't know.
Myself and Tom.
It was Pat, Tom, and Maureen.
I thought I was on
Yeah.
it, yeah, okay.
So, FYI, and Matt's pretty good, or this, Jane and Matt are, good about getting out notices to everybody when you're on a committee, so
Yeah.
when you come up, I wasn't sure. You're the clerk, sometimes you do it. Next item is personnel, and then the next meeting for personnel is Wednesday, May 4th, 2022 at 5 p.m.
Right.
And of course, yes, some of the committees might change between now and then, number one. So, and again, these are all, Matt did this earlier, just to have for everyone to know. Just once a month or once a quarter, you have your meeting and that's it. It doesn't mean you couldn't have a special meeting if we thought there was something real important again. But right now, these are just get together once in a while, so. All right, communications and new business, public comments. Anybody in the audience or council that has anything they want to comment on, now would be the time to just state it. It's just a comment, it's nothing to discuss. Patrick?
Somebody in my neighborhood brought up how, if possible, when you enter my neighborhood, there is a 25-mile-an-hour speed limit sign right kind of at the corner. And I noticed it and kind of agree with them that as you come around that corner, by the time you straighten out, you're already at the sign. Is it possible, would the city consider maybe moving that sign, so not adding one, but moving that sign farther down and actually putting it up next to the park there, which is really where you, after you get past the industrial part, where you enter the residential part of our neighborhood. Because by the time, if people don't see that and they come down there, they don't know if it's 30 or 35 or 25 or what, and but by the time they get there and they see the houses, if the sign was there and they saw that, might help reduce some speeding in around the neighborhood.
Yeah.
A thought, a question?
Have the police and Mike decide what they think it's a wise choice.
I
The staff make that
agree
call.
with you. That would be good
I
to
know what
move
you're
that.
saying.
Yeah.
So have them look at it, and I'm sure it won't happen until the count does,
But yeah,
They
just,
decide to do that.
again, and not necessarily a need for a second sign, but just
Right.
maybe a better
Move
position.
it. Yep.
Thank
Alright,
you.
Thank you. Any other public comments? If not, last meeting I said for consideration of the cable commission, it was Heather Hovey and Christopher Hovey, and I believe they're brother, sister, or siblings. And Dallas said right now they're working on the commission as far as taping and videoing or announcing. The thing is, you have two people in the same family have opinions and they overrule it, but I think there's a committee of 5 anyway.
Right.
So they can't really take majority over that committee, so. I'd recommend approval unless someone has a reason or has concerns.
It's just the cable commission?
Yes.
Yeah.
I make a motion to approve Heather Holby and Christopher Holby for Cable Commission.
I'll second it.
Okay, motion made, second, approved Heather and Christopher Holby for the cable commission. Any other discussion on the motion? Not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. We have no closed session items, which is all right. Other business, I know staff brought to my attention, I'd heard a little bit about this, but there was a fire at 394 Gibb Street last Friday. There was someone, pardon?
395.
395.
Oh, no, you're right, 394.
Well, anyway, somewhere on
Street.
Gibb Street here in town. There was a fire and there was a lady trapped in the basement. I don't know if there was not an egress window. Being a building inspector, I'd say that's why you put egress windows in. Luckily, the fire department had the tools to cut into the concrete wall and actually be able to pull her out. She maybe had a few burns, I think, I'm not positive, but she's okay. So thank you for the fire department. Again, pat them guys in the back. They're volunteers, they show up when they can. Tom, you've been on there before too, and I have, and it sounds like they did their job very well.
Yeah,
so.
police department was there too, and
Yep. Well, I'm sure, yeah, lots of help.
amazing.
So, FYI, that was kind of good, exciting, that they were able to save somebody. All right, anything else? Any other business anybody has? Thoughts?
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
My two usuals. Motion made, second to adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, everybody. Have a great evening.
I gave it a
Are
pause.
these hours?